I did do fuck up on this one. I'm really not proud of this week at all. For my defense, I would say the market was really trying hard to push me into tilting. I keep repeating myself, but it really feels like things are going against me. There's definitely a lot of mistakes from my side. This week should have been a one trade, one win. That was my goal. Realized quickly that the price action wasn't going anywhere and it was ranging. I said to myself the key of this week is patience and discipline and try to find that good trade and execute on it. I did end up getting onto this trade and I exited because sadly this trade happened when I was cooking on the last few hours of my day before going back to work, and it had the thing to just put me off track and trigger me emotionally, and I exited that winning trade. So yeah, oh well. Let's go back through that week. And as you can see up there, my account max drawdown is 6%. So I've been risking 0.5% on most of my trades. I don't have much left here. Probably got 3 shots at 0.5% risk. Not too happy about this. It is what it is. If I get a good winner, it's just gonna get back onto my feet. It's still okay. This is my dashboard on TradeZilla with those 3 trades for this week down here. And yeah, not really what I want. So coming into my week, I had sort of big hopes for it because I had my Thursday off. So it meant I had Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday of trading. So it let me heaps of time. There's no way I could complain that the trades were happening when I wasn't available. Yeah, week started. We had like this move on Friday over the weekend, the retrace on the Sunday. You can see here Ethereum just pretty much nothing for the whole week. It was seek and destroy this week, and the key was really to stay disciplined and patient and try to not get eaten alive by the market. Straight away on Monday, I recognized this pattern. You sort of have this round top, a peak up and up like this on a curve, and you have this sort of flush here in the middle. If you remember this one, I'll actually take that pattern and so this was Ethereum on a 5-minute, and this is Bitcoin on a 12-hour. Paste it here. Yep, so here it is. Exact same pattern. That's why I pay so much attention to these patterns, because I feel like, I don't know if it's market maker just repeating the same things because I know it works, but it's identical here. We have the round move up like this with the flush in the middle, little bit of a bounce, and then you have sort of this 2 parabolic runs, like exactly the same ones here. It's just fun fact. And so on Monday, when I realized this pattern was at play, here on ETH I didn't really get entries, but if you look at Bitcoin, this point as well is valid. I was just paying attention to something I paid more and more attention now, which are order blocks, and I realized they present on the 2-minute, but it's not something I want to trade because this is not the way I trade. I'll execute on an order block, the right area on the 5 or 15-minute, but 2 minutes seems too small to me, so all I was doing was forward testing those trades, and I did get 3 winners as paper trading, forward testing those order blocks. So while price action wasn't doing much for the first 3-4 days, all I was focusing on was those 2-minute breaker blocks, because they just appeared everywhere, and if they're in the right area of interest, these are great trades. I'm going to drop to the 2-minute to just show a bit of an example. So yeah, see how you've got this break, that 2 liquidity, order block here. I think even this one was on the 1-minute. Retest, that's your entry. Exact same stuff here. Order block that grab the liquidity, run through it, retest it, entry. Here on Ethereum, similar, and they're literally everywhere. Here on top on Bitcoin, right into this order block on the weekend. Test that area of interest. You can get 3 pushes up, order block, retest. Great entries. All this, I was sleeping at this time, midnight, because I wake up here for the start of US. It was actually a trade here. If I flip back to the 5 minute, I couldn't wake up this day for US. Remember that I wake up at 1:30 in the morning, so there's days where I just can't get to the charts. But this pattern here, if you look on Ethereum, is one that I love. We have inverted hammer, evening star that takes the high of this hammer. This pattern is such a good entry, especially most of the time you have this drop here. Well, this one happened in UK extension. Most of the time this push up will happen in the extension and into the gap. Then US opens, you have the big drop, and then you have this retest, this entry, banger short. Maybe I would have expected more downside, so it's not to say that I would have made a win on this trade. But this entry, yeah, any time of the day, maybe I would have round tripped this trade and put it back to break even. To the Asia lows was 176R. To maybe one of those lows was probably just a little bit more. Not a big trade, but a 2R trade. Even 1.5, honestly, I'll take it every day of the week as well. Tuesday, Asia, I was really looking at something. Is we had this drop. We reclaimed this area, so you have this breaker block that became this order block that becomes a breaker block once you break back above. This lined up as well with this fair value gap. So you have this 15-minute breaker block, and you've got a fair value gap inside of it. Just that candle that breaks the 50 EMA as well. So big area of interest here, and I had an alert on it, and I was actually still at the chart, but I always expect more of, retest, a candle formation as a retest more than just a spike. I'm really bad at entering off just a spike. If you look here on the 5 minute, this was the potential entry here. I remember seeing my alert, seeing this candle close, and you could have entered there, maybe protect yourself and put your stop a little bit below, and in 2 candles price was gone and was retesting this inverse fair value gap. I was just too late to do anything. It was just way too quick. I didn't enter on this candle close. By the time this one was up there, it was definitely too late, because I knew the first target would be those highs or this area of interest, and the risk reward wasn't there anymore. Nothing crazy for the rest of the day. I woke up in US, and I woke up just here at the open, so this move already started. Yeah, same. Too late to get any sort of entry on this move. And then if you look after that, if you could drop down to the 2 minutes, breaker block, breaker block, breaker here, you sort of got one here as well. This one broken, retested. It's quick, or run through and even retested with this inverted hammer. I had a lot of learning this week on those breaker blocks on the 2 minute, and I really want to keep forward testing and implement them into my trading when I can. There's none of my entries throughout all these days. Nothing respect my preferred setups. It's spikes high, spike low, spike high, spike low, and I never enter off a spike like this unless I get confirmation by dropping into a 2 minute time frame, and then there I can see a market structure shift. Now here comes Thursday, my last day off before going back to work. Same, nothing I can do in Asia, nothing crazy here, and here's my first trade. It would have been a beautiful 3-2-1. I exited early on this one, so I'll explain it to you. I don't expect much of the market at this point, and it is 9 p.m. I'm on the phone with my brother actually, so I missed this retest here and this drop. It's 9 p.m. I start cooking when I get off the phone, and then I see this pattern, and I'm like, okay, now I've got this really clean M formation. There's a good rejection of the 200 here on the 15 minute. Same on Bitcoin, rejecting 50% of the day, of previous day. I think we might be onto something, and if we drop and retest this 50, it's one of my preferred setup. So I drop down on the 5 minute to see if I get a good entry, and I've got hammer, railroad track, inverted hammer, and that's when I exit my trade. That's when I enter my trade. This candle moved fast and went back up, and instead of dropping like this, which I sort of expect of my trade, price creates those two hammers here and take this high, which I sort of did allowed on it. I didn't put my stop right to that high. I covered most of the EMAs and most of this gap because there was a chance we'll just tap higher, which is pretty much the 15-minute 50 EMA here. I'm busy, I've got food on the stove, and I see those two hammers. Same on Bitcoin, respecting sort of this area, and I know it's maybe looking at the 2-minute time frame, and some people would call it noise. I like to look at it because it shows me what price does. And honestly, at this stage, it's 9:30. I haven't eaten yet. I haven't done my lunch, and I'm just getting pissed off because price is having finally a good setup when I'm about to go to bed, like the whole week, 4 days, and then this is when this happens. So, and I'm half cooking and checking my thing and checking my trade. I see those two hammers, and I'm like, I don't want to look at this trade because it's been seek and destroy the whole week. I'm not even sure the setup is going to play up, and I want to have my dinner in peace. I want to be relaxed, and I want to go to bed early. I don't want to monitor this trade for this long. See, like here was 10:30, like an hour later, it was still pretty much in my entry. And at this point on Bitcoin, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 drops. There's nothing telling me that price is not just going to do a small down and during the UK US changeover create that W to reverse. Maybe just sweep that Asia low and reverse. And yeah, I'm just not keen to go into bed, monitor that trade for longer and be tired at work. I wake up at 4:30 and I just exit that trade at that point, at that small loss, which is that $300 loss. And yeah, I wake up to this really pissed off. I was rested and in a good mindset the whole week. I was concentrated. I wasn't in the bad mindset I've been recently. And just the price showing me signs of life, of good trades by the last night before I go back to work. I just felt triggered again. It felt like it was unfair. And yeah, just exited that trade, which is a big shame, and I regret it so much. I could have one trade, one kill, like I said, made finally a winning week, and I end up tilting and having a loss, which I don't even want to talk about it. There was a re-entry here on Bitcoin when you have those two railroad track back to back, which is an M formation retesting that 50. It's beautiful trade. One of my favorite setup. It went straight. See, this is why sometimes I monitor lower time frames, even if people would think it's noise. When you get a good entry like this and price has got an intention, it goes there straight away. You see here, there's a 3-hour trade that played out in half an hour. Done. Friday, I'm at work. I see this fair value gap created that crosses the 200 on a 15-minute. I see this consolidation. I think I checked my phone around here like this, what I was at work, and I just clearly saw that straight away. Equal highs. I put an alert here. I'm like, if we tap in there and I get an entry, it's probably going to be a good trade. Next time I look at my phone, price is up there. So all this I was still at work. I only had a quick glance at my phone, nothing to enter off. And once again, I get this big move up. There's a really good trade here. It's quite a nice one. By then, I go back home. I'm at home. I mark this area. I think it's on the 5-minute on Ethereum. I think it's a breaker block. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, exactly. Once again, the last up candle. I've got the last up candle that created the move down, that took that liquidity here, ran through, retested, and same, this one, exact same thing. I had an alert on top of it. By the time I got home, finished at 5:20, was it 6 or something? Yeah. I run to my laptop, I enter my trade here. I let this one play. I know it's right before the Asia extension, so not a huge fan, but I had to enter on this one because it was so sharp, and Bitcoin already did that sharp move up, and I thought for Friday both asset will just keep going up and trap people long. I enter on this trade, and here I still respect my rules. My 2-hour rule: if price didn't go anywhere after 2 hours, I either cut my trade or put my stop loss where it needs to be. Luckily enough, I've got price that rejects that 50 EMA. Price moves out. I move my stop here to break even, and then I do my dinner, I do all my duties. It's 9:10. I was checking here. We are holding Asia highs. This is good sign. Good sign. So this candle. Then I was sort of busy eating. Didn't move my stop or anything. And on my way back to bed, I thought we were holding. I didn't see those candles. I get an alert that get stopped at break even. So plus fees, this trade was minus $70. And then I don't even know what happened on this trade. I did not have a trade like this for more than a year, which is just a full emotion trigger trade. No reasoning. Yeah, I can't even, there's no explanation to it. It's just I got stopped at break even. I got angry. It was right before bed. And I think at this time we sort of swept that low with that candle, and I'm like, I'm gonna get just stopped out for price to keep going, disregarding that we were back within Asia range. Same on Bitcoin, but that's the thing here, we were rejecting this order block on Bitcoin as well. It was that hammer here. Yeah, just got back into a trade and just got stopped out. Pure tilt, pure emotions, and that just added to my loss of the week, which would have been half a risk loss. This one as well, if I saw that price here was just fading away, I would have closed that trade. This trade closed there would have been a 1-to-1, or it would have covered my small loss of the start of the week. Would have been a break-even week. I mean, woulda, coulda, shoulda. A lot of learnings on the 2-minute breaker blocks throughout the week. Very difficult, shitty price action. There was probably, no trades to take. There was none, except for me, for my setups. On Thursday and Friday, there was finally decent price action when I was back to work. What a shame. And yeah, fully lost it with that last trade. Very not happy about it. It is what it is. I'm honest. Yeah, this is what trading does to you. So there's a lot of mindset and frustration to try to get rid of for next week again. Next week, working Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So I'll be able to trade from Wednesday UK the rest of the week. So pretty much every time I got half the week, which is pretty good. Yeah, we really need a green week. We really need one.